The world's #1 sports and recreation podcast, Cheap Heat, is back, baby. Better late than never. The theme of the week on this, what's the date, SGG? June 18th?
Dangerously close to having me work on Juneteenth, but we're getting it in time.
Yeah, no, you're definitely taking the day, aren't you?
Oh, of course.
Now, what if you had court tomorrow? Would you have told a client can't go to court? It's a holiday.
Oh no, federal holiday. No.
Oh, it doesn't
tomorrow.
matter. It doesn't matter. It's not even an option.
Yeah, it's out of my hands. So what can I do? I have to take the day.
I am taking the morning. I am working the afternoon. I traded the day essentially. I did Monday because I took off Monday to go to Washington and do this event at the definition of the White House of Jace. Now listen,
why is it White House of Jace?
Because it was the Eisenhower building. It was literally.
Oh, okay.
No, it's literally White House of Jace. I'll send you guys the video. I took a video of me and Smoke Dizza. And I'm like, yo, look, we're at the White House. And I turn the camera and I'm like, Jace, because we're on the side of the White House. It's literally, it's the technical Jace.
Well, was there at least a file there marked Greg Hyde student loans that you could have snuck out of there for me?
I did not. I didn't see that.
Okay.
As an option.
Right.
Everyone watching on YouTube, pardon, I'm going to try to clean my camera. We have a lot going. Didn't do anything. We have something. We have a lot going on in the house right now. So I am not in my regular space, as you can tell. But we're going to try our best to make this thing work. As you see in the background over my right shoulder, your left, that is the Bear and Rocky Chewy Championship. And in case you're wondering, yes, Chewy.com, without any prompting, framed a title before Dipperstein ever got to framing the 24/7 championship. And they referenced it in the letter. Yo,
do you have the letter?
Hey, Natalie, where's the Chewy letter? Do you know? Oh, we have to find it. It's in the garbage? Do we take a picture of it? Rocky just running out like he was going to tell me something was hilarious, but he just came busting out of the room like, let me talk to you. But they said in the letter, they were like, we are confident that Bear and Rocky will defend this title 24/7. And the title itself has a camera on it on one side and a microphone on the other side.
Incredible.
I mean, Chewy, these people are geniuses. The whole thing probably cost them, with the gifts they gave and the belt they made and the packaging, I'm guessing they dropped a few $100. Natalie goes, what? $50? No, it was more than 50.
No, we see the title. That's more
it's a nice title. I would say
alone.
Maybe $200 because the stuff they sent was free. Really, it was just the title, but it was beautifully done. And now I already spent money with Chewy. Now you have me for life, and I'm going to tell everybody about it. And I when I posted about them to all my pet owners, when I posted about Chewy and what they sent, the messages I was getting, people were like, "Oh my God, this company's the greatest." Do we have
a promo code that we can use
to
send our listeners back to Chewy?
No. By the way, Chewy, can we just get you to sponsor the podcast? Like, let's get Chewy on board, man.
I don't own a dog, but I know many dog owners. I would love to have snacks on deck for when people come through and their dogs are here.
By the way, if SGG gets hungry enough and he's out of human snacks, guess what?
It's all the same thing.
It's all food. And
by
the way, SGG will be so happy to take sponsorship money. He'll go adopt a dog and name it Chewy tomorrow.
I can do it easily.
It's nothing.
It can be done like that.
Right. So we love Chewy. We love Chewy. They're so chewy. But really, what an awesome gift that was. So shout out to them. Super cool. And Dip, I'm still waiting. So I'm still waiting for the framed title. It's a bad job by Dip. Dip has to hold the L on this. He told me when I won it, like, do not do anything with that title. I am getting it framed for you. He's been to the house 5 times. He sees it.
At least.
I mean, yeah, no, probably more than 5 times. You're right. It's. I got to do it on my own now.
Let's be real. You won the title in the Thunderdome. And then since then, they've done like half capacity. They've gone full crowds. We got 2 nights of Mania.
I think 4 nights of full crowd Mania have happened.
No. We've done heat and greets since then.
We've switched networks. We've hired producers. We've said goodbye to people. It's been an array of things. But anyways, Dipperstein will be on Patreon this week. He had some sort of retreat of some sort. He could not be here today. I liked when he did tell us, though. We were already recording late, and he was like, I can't make it by then. I said, what time could you get there?
Yeah.
He said, I'll be home. He bothered answering. He goes, I'll be home at like 10 p.m. My time.
Dip is one of my favorite people in the world. One of the least favorite to schedule anything with. It has to be like a freestyle. We go to do this now. Otherwise, Dip is gonna delay it.
Oh no, he's
almost.
You know what we should do? Hey, Emilio, we should set up a podcast with Cypher Sounds and Dipperstein, and it can just be called Not a Show.
Will they trade text messages on who has to reschedule first, or they can't do this because they're playing at the Ha Ha Hole in Windsor?
No, it's just for laughs in East Lansing. By the way, for you guys who don't know, my partner in crime on one app, Cypher Sounds, is a comedian who is always playing somewhere. So he's always plugging random comedy venues that sound similar to what we were just saying. So if you couldn't figure it out, now you know. I will say, before we get into what was a big episode of Raw, bigger, I'd say, probably than Clash at the Castle, I would say, man, a great Patreon week. We have the first episode of Saturday Night's Main Event that is up. We will record the second one this weekend. But the first one is up there, locked and loaded, and people loved it. Not to mention, if you pay for the highest tier, the Egg Everything, you get video, so you can just watch the video along. Emilio, great job on that.
Yes, I love the mini TV, the mini retro TV.
Yeah, the mini retro. It's a nice touch.
Is that TV going to be updated through the times? Like when we hit the 90s, is it going to be a
different
TV?
That's a great thought. I wonder if Emilio has those capabilities. That'll be interesting to see. But it looks great, sounds great. We had a great time. It's also the best Dipperstein you get because it's like weekend Dipperstein watching old wrestling. So it is the best version of Dipperstein you get. You guys have to understand, we want Dipperstein on the regular shows. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm the only person who has to be on all the shows. If Dip can't do one time, if SGG can't do one time, it's just they'll pop on whichever works for that week. Here's what you guys have to understand, though. On a weekday when we're trying to do the show with Dipperstein, do you know how much it can take you out of the zone of doing the show when we all sign on and you look at one person and they look like they just stepped out of a meeting and you're bothering them because they're about to step into another meeting? And the only word they say before we start is, "Can we start?"
Let's go.
Literally,
not like a hype. Let's go. Dip hates those.
No, Dip hates. Let's go.
Yeah, it's very much. It's very much a let's go. Let's go. Come on.
What are we doing here? He'll watch us talk. Yo, SGG, you see that Mercedes Moné was at the Celtics game? Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yo, by the way, Celtics, blah, blah, blah. That'll go on for about 35 seconds. He stares, and then at a certain point when enough time has passed, he goes, all right, we got to go. Let's go. So that's so I'm not trying to taunt you by saying, oh, come to Patreon because you get the best Dipperstein. But I will say, when I can get him on the weekends, it's better than midweekday Dipperstein, which, by the way, we're recording this on a Wednesday night, and I'm off tomorrow morning. So, SG, you're basically getting weekend us right now.
Exactly.
So, exactly. That's why. Yeah, you hear that? That's Natalie. She's screaming. Now, by the way, what a wonderful thing Juneteenth falls this way for those of you who are off work, for those of you whose jobs aren't racist, because you get to be off on Wednesday. And by the way, if you're wondering, Peter, how do you, a white guy, celebrate Juneteenth? You know what? I'm glad you asked. I always make it my business to support at least one black-owned business every Juneteenth. And then some people will say, wow, well, shouldn't you support black-owned business every day? And to you, I say, shut the fuck up and let me support on Juneteenth, okay?
Come on.
Do you support a black business every day? Bloomingdale's isn't black, all right? Shut up. We're doing the best we can over here. So, no, that's my little way of trying to always do something. But listen, at least open the door for a black person if you see them walking down the street, SGG.
Zella black person $100 if you have it.
Maybe that black person is Statguy Greg.
Yeah, Zella black person $100.
By the way, that's a great you should start a campaign called just Zella black person, and you like hashtag it and just give your Zell out and be like, hey, white people, I know you're wondering, what can I do to contribute? We should do you want to run a commercial for this? We get it up tomorrow.
We could do this. I'll put my Venmo QR code. Just Venmo a black person.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing to do.
Just get some of that white guilt off your chest with a nice little donation. Doesn't have to be.
It feels great, by the way. It feels great taking out of the. By the way, so the wonderful guy, I've shouted him out before. My guy John, who works in the building here, who's a big time Mark, Cheap Heat Mark, and
what's up, John? Thank you for listening.
He's the best. I hit him up and I'm like, yo, we got a note saying there's no major guys. We are going to talk about wrestling today.
Yeah,
we are going to talk a lot of wrestling. But
listen, y'all know how we do. We got to bring you into our lives first.
Yeah, this is important stuff. We're celebrating, guys. Because the point I was going to make about Juneteenth is it's dope that it falls on a Wednesday. Because then when you go back to work, it's already Thursday, which is fire. Wednesday off. I might take every Wednesday off. It's amazing. But we get a note like Monday from my building saying if you're getting any major deliveries, they can't be on Wednesday because the office is closed for Juneteenth. Now, they sent this Monday. I don't know if you guys know how furniture deliveries work in the post-pandemic era.
Oh.
Dates get set way ahead of time.
It's like 6 months.
And you can't change dates. So we currently, the reason I'm in my living room right now, for anybody who lives in a small apartment, you understand my problem. Our bed is broken. The whole bedroom is a mess. The mattress is laying on the frame. That room is hell right now. So we need the bed. Our life is in complete disarray. If you have a 2-bed, 1-bath with the main bedroom, the primary bedroom. See, white people, I'm giving you a Juneteenth lesson.
Yeah.
The word is primary.
We don't do master bedrooms no more. We don't do master bed. It's over for
dead.
Master bedrooms.
By the way, right now there's someone going, see? You can't even say master bedroom anymore. I loved that word. How am I going to give it up? Primary. It's a primary
bedroom.
So if you understand, when you lose the whole place is a mess. We need the bed. So I get the email and I text John. And I go, John, I just got this email, dude. I was like, we're getting a bed Wednesday. I need to do something. He's like,
although you do got to hit yourself with the button.
Why?
It's scheduled in advance, and listen, Juneteenth is set. It's not a moving target. You saw June 19th and just said we're available.
Wait, you would think that a bed would not be able to be delivered in, like, we're not in a federal building. I just assume. I didn't think. And listen, they obviously didn't think they were either.
I'm not expecting anybody to lift a finger on Juneteenth. Is what I'm saying. Man.
well, fine. In double my defense, Natalie thought the delivery day was Tuesday, so we were double off. So we thought it was the 18th. Does that help?
That helps.
All right, so
helps a little bit.
So we thought it was the 19th. They obviously took it so seriously, by the way, that they decided on Monday that was the case. But so I hit up John. I'm like, yo, bro, can you help me out with this? He's like, I got you. Just, send me the info. In the end, it turns out, what are they called? Urgent deliveries, or like, it's like, yeah, hold on, I'll read you the message. But it's like basically critical deliveries are immune from this. They'll and a bed is considered that. Like, if you need a bed, you can get your bed, right? So he said, all right, give me until tomorrow, I'll handle blah, blah, blah. I said, thank you, sorry to be that guy. And then he explained some other things. Okay. He said, I'll take care of it. I said, wow, now I'm the guy making the black man handle my bed on Juneteenth. Face palm. He wrote me back laughing emojis and said, listen, you're black at Jace, and that's a black man saying that. So for me, it's just helping another brother out. And he gave me the salute emoji. Yo, there's so much in there that's funny. Because I told you he's really a fan for real. But then he said, oh yeah. Then he followed up and said, actually, it turns out I forgot. Situations with essential items, which includes beds, is okay for a delivery. So I'm not doing anything bad, okay? All right.
Shout out to John, by the way.
No, John is the man. Shout out to everybody. Enjoy your Juneteenth. It really is. It really is one of the things that I can say definitively came out of 2020. I know it's just a small thing, but it is a conversation starter, and it is an important conversation. So I think it's dope. There's so many holidays that I don't understand. That one of like, hey, let's celebrate the day that the worst thing in our country's history ended. Like, that's a worthwhile holiday. Like, that's a really good. It's like, let's celebrate the day we as a country were cured of a disease. Like, that's a good, cured might be strong, but you get the idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it was. There was an idea.
We no, it was the day we realized there was a disease. Okay.
Right.
So SGG, do you agree with my take that Raw was bigger and has more implications than Clash at the Castle?
Yes, I do. Because I mean, let's look at it, right? Clash was a great show. I think Triple H has perfected the 5-match show. Cody retained.
By the way, is that going to be, here's my one question on that before you go forward. Is that going to be the way things are, or is that going to be the way international things are?
That's a good question. And I'm hoping that it's just the way international things are. I guess we're going to find out at Money in the Bank, which is international, but I mean,
no,
WWE it doesn't count because it's North America. WWE treats North America as an extension, Canada and sometimes Mexico as an extension of what happens in the States. Toronto's been a second home to WWE for a long time.
And it's North America. It's North America.
Yeah, it doesn't count. But maybe that's just the way international things are. And as we saw, Damian Priest successfully defended his championship against Drew. Which led into the Drew Punk thing. But the major beats, even with that, it happened on Raw. Drew quit. Seth Rollins returns to challenge Damian Priest. Jey Uso qualifies for Money in the Bank. He said he's going to cash in that Yeet case.
Okay.
And then the Wyatt Six made their debut to close out.
Are you sure? Are you sure the Wyatt Six's debut was bigger than the Yeet case?
We'll see. He has to get his hands on the Yeet case first.
Oh my God!
So
I mean, there is no doubt. There's no doubt if he gets that briefcase, it is just it's saying Yeet case on it.
Yeah, like it has to. The Yeet branding is too strong.
Okay, it has to be a Yeet case.
It has to be the Yeet case. And unless I forgot about Chad Gable, right? He didn't.
Oh, that by the way,
championship.
To me, maybe the third biggest thing to come out of Raw was the Chad Gable situation, Alpha Academy, at least in terms from an entertainment standpoint. And I had a special guest today on Over the Top that we recorded, Corey Graves, and Graves filled in for Beetle, and we both, he said Cody, but we essentially agreed that Gable might have to be your MVP of WWE for the post WrestleMania run. For me, he's provided the most entertainment and shown the most growth since we got out of Mania.
And I'll even say too, like you're capping it as post Mania, but going into Mania, Gable was essential, right? Sami Zayn dethrones Gunther at 666 days in Mania in Philly. He gets that big celebration, but he did it because Gable coached him to that point. And so like Gable is up there. I would say MVP.
Gable, man. First of all, I was so worried that yesterday they decided to randomly blow off the Otis thing. When Otis got pissed off after Gable, of course, knocked Maxine's crutch away and smacked Tozawa, all of a sudden, Otis gets in his face and pushes Gable. And the crowd went crazy. And I went, oh, my God, that was it at that moment? Like, that didn't really feel But then you see Otis deciding whether he's going to go crazy and kill Gable or not, and he decides to roll out of the ring. So my guess is they're trying to push it for one more week. I don't know how much longer they can make it. I might pull it back one more, though. Next week, because yesterday he shoved him and Gable fell on his back. Like he took a back bump, basically.
Listen, he launched Gable. Gable was standing in the center of the ring, ends up in the corner.
Right. And then Gable's laying in the corner as Otis leaves. Next week, I would maybe scale it back a week where, like, Gable slaps Otis and everyone's begging for him to do something and he does nothing. And then maybe the next one, we get the full explosion. Although, I don't know. There's a chance they milk it all the way to Money in the Bank or something.
Well, here's the thing about Chad Gable, right? I don't know if you caught this, but at the end of Raw, when the Wyatt Sick6 makes their debut, and it's just a massacre backstage, which I didn't realize how much WWE had spent time conditioning us to realizing that, like, the backstage is like this normal place. Even when Drew quits, like, they go backstage, they show Gorilla, they normalize it, and this was a sacred space that we hadn't really seen before.
Prior to the last couple of years, yeah.
Right, and then the Wyatt Sick6 just destroyed it, and I think that heightened the intensity of what they.
No, yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, Gable was sitting there. Why was Gable there?
No idea, but he was on their hit list, and then I did see.
And does that take him off TV for a couple of weeks or something?
I guess we're gonna find out. Because some of those detectives who snooped through the QR codes and went through it with the fine-tooth comb, they noticed a line in one of the videos that said, "You changed. You stopped saying thank you." And Gable was a victim. Gable's catchphrase was,
"You stop saying thank you."
Gable's catchphrase was a thank you, and we haven't heard that in a while.
What?
And there he was, the first big target.
All right. Well, hold on. We'll get back to that. We'll break that down. But I want to just fantasy book this for a second, guys. And when I say fantasy, I don't mean fantasy like, oh, what if it happens? Like it could happen. What I'm about to fantasy book cannot happen for obvious physical reasons that the person I'm talking about, I guess they could do it. It just wouldn't be able to be what I would want it to be. And I want to give credit to Natalie for this because we were talking about this person and she was like, you know what they need to do? And when she said it, I was like, you know what? Yo, how ill would it be? Emilio produced this up nice for social media. Give me dramatic music. How crazy would it be if, let's say, in a couple weeks, whenever the moment is that it's time, you think Otis is finally going to turn on Gable. But before he does it, Gable knows it's happening and like takes Maxine's crutch, goes to Otis's back, takes out Otis and beats the hell out of him. Does the same to Tozawa. Right when you thought Otis was finally going to do it, Gable beats them both down. And then he starts backing Maxine into the corner, classic heel style. And just when you're like, oh my God, what on earth are they going to do? You hear that Kurt Angle music hit. Like, I know Kurt's not in a place probably to be that guy anymore. But if you could humor me, and we run the video of classic Kurt Angle running down or marching down that aisle, and then you had a face-off at like a match at SummerSlam or WrestleMania between Kurt Angle and Chad Gable. And like I said, I know it's a fantasy. This isn't real life.
I'll tell you what, though. Are they going to Pittsburgh soon? Because it could happen. The hometown pop.
At least, because even if he just comes out and slaps him or does, like there's still something he could do. But the perfect world, if you had gotten to see a prime Angle and a prime Gable actually go at it. And I know I said this on the podcast a few weeks ago, and I feel like it went under the radar. I'm going to say it again. I just still find it amazing that they were so invested in Gable Steveson and they had Chad Gable here this whole time.
Seriously.
Like, he is the dude. Like, everyone's like, Gable Stevenson's the next Kurt Angle, the next Kurt Angle. And I gotta ask Chad about this. That must have bothered him. Like I know most of the time people don't think I'm gonna be the next blank. But when you're a smaller sized Olympic wrestler whose wrestling style is so similar, and you can talk, and you can get cheered for or booed, that you're the heir apparent to Kurt Angle. Like, Gable knew that.
And let's be real too, right? They ran that storyline with, you have an illegitimate son on the roster. And no disrespect to Jason Jordan, but just imagine if they went with Chad Gable on that one. And then just think about the fact that Chad Gable was able to do the comedy and the serious very well, much like a Kurt Angle, who we saw Chad Gable with the shorty G and the basketball shorts, and we saw Kurt Angle with the tiny cowboy hat. But when that bell rang, both of those guys brought you top tier A1 performance.
You know what? I gotta put in a request for Gable. We need to get Gable on the show.
Yeah.
It's time. Like, this is the time.
Is.
He's the most, besides, of course, I don't think it'd be the time to talk to Bo Dallas. But besides that, of course, besides Uncle Howdy, I don't know if right now there's anything more impactful than Chad Gable. We got to talk to Chad Gable, because I got to know that. Like, everyone always talks about you and Kurt Angle, but did you want to be Kurt Angle? Like, you had to, right?
Yeah, and listen, even if he didn't, the similarities are there. It's a sign of respect coming from the fans. I don't know if you caught this, but a couple of weeks ago too, he got a "You Suck" chant, and I wish that would have followed him into the other weeks and the different shows and different matches on WWE TV, because he is living up to that hype. It's a high bar, but he's meeting the challenge.
So anyways, that was a big thing that happened. Seth Rollins is back, and with all due respect to, I think it's gonna be a fun match at SummerSlam. Seth Rollins and Damian Priest, El Campeon. I think it's a good place
Money in
to
the
go.
Bank, no?
I'm sorry, what did I say? SummerSlam? Yes.
SummerSlam, yeah.
Money in the Bank. That is correct. Thank you. I think that'll be a great match, but it wasn't. The word shocking, I think, would be strong to describe the return.
You weren't shocked?
I was shocked. I was surprised.
Surprise.
No, dude, a shock would be. Okay. That's shock. Okay.
Okay.
Burn it down. That's surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. But with all due respect to that, the other thing that has to be talked about is the Wyatt Sick6 arrival. And I'm sure our guy Sam Roberts already did a full, every single detail breakdown of everything that's happened. I'm sure many people have, but Sammy does it better, in my opinion. But SGG, what did you think about the way they did the eventual appearance of the Wyatt Sick6, the continuation of the Bray Wyatt Fiend story, if you will?
Oh, see, now that was shocking, the way they did the Wyatt Sick6, because when they went backstage, I wasn't expecting the Sister Abigail character to be out there front and center. And then when she directs everybody backstage to go through that door, it just changed everything about what I thought we were going to get from this faction. Especially because, when it initially happens, it reminded me of Bray Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules, and we didn't get to go through that door and see what was happening on the other side. This time we do, and it's a full-on massacre with Bo Dallas, or Uncle Howdy, I should say, and multiple other members of this family, and just producers, agents, Chad Gable. There's some speculation that Gunther was among the bodies on the floor, although that hasn't been confirmed. And it's just about, what does this mean for the roster? I wasn't expecting to be so spooky.
Really,
I
you
read
weren't
her.
expecting that?
Well, no, not to the level of where like there's blood splattered everywhere and lifeless bodies. Some mysticism, a couple lightning bolts. Teleportation. I'm open to all of that. The real like gruesome maybe murders, attempted murders. I don't know what happened. We're gonna get some answers later, hopefully. But that piece of it, I was not expecting. But I think that them doing that is a signal to everybody that this is not who you thought it was. Like this faction is gonna be probably even more gruesome, even more deadly, even more dangerous than Bray Wyatt was on his own, than the Wyatt family was when they were with Bray Wyatt. That whatever level of darkness you thought Bray Wyatt was going to come with, and the Wyatt family brought, they're going to go even deeper and darker than that.
Beautifully said. I think it was beautifully done. Shout out to Rob Fee, who I think everyone widely knows is the man very, very most closely connected to this story.
Right.
And
I mean, we can say he's a genius, right? We can just put that out there.
no, come on, you got to give him a place to grow. He's still a kid, practically. Let's let him grow to genius. But he's very gifted and talented. It was awesome. Now, here's the thing, though. This is why we have to reserve our judgment, even though this part played out amazing.
Yeah.
This is going to be risky territory. Let's be totally fair. The sequel to something of this level, especially when you remember that because of the tragedy of everything that happened and us losing Bray, the Uncle Howdy story still was developing.
Right.
We still don't fully know this character. Now, you guys know how much faith I have in the talent of the man behind Uncle Howdy. I truly have a lot of faith in that guy. Like I think how much we're believers on this show.
Yeah, long-time believers.
We absolutely believe. That being said, though, this is going to be different. They have 6 different people. We obviously have heard speculation on who those people are. We'll find out. It's incredible.
We only saw 5 last night, though. Who do you think the 6th is going to eventually be?
Do people know who the 5 were that we saw based on anything?
I think some tattoos gave it away, right? So the woman who crawled out, people feel like she resembled Nikki Cross. I agree with that.
I thought so too.
Eric Rowan was there. His beard was peeking out under the rabbit mask, so people saw that. The Buzzard that was backstage, he had a tattoo that was reminiscent of a Dexter Loomis. So, and I noticed that as well. And then Joe Gacy is the 5th member who was appearing on stage. So obviously, Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy, Loomis, Rowan, Joe Gacy, and then Nikki,
and we know it's Joe Gacy.
I think the tattoos gave it away that it's Joe Gacy.
Okay, got it. And obviously, what they showed you, they wanted you to see, or they could have covered people if they were interested in doing that. All right. So the question then remains: who else is left? Or as Emilio Sparks just contributed. Go ahead, Emilio. Say what you just told us. That's a good line. You deserve to deliver it.
I think the 6th man will forever be Bray Wyatt.
I love that. I take no issue with that.
No, me either.
Not only that, not only do I take no issue with that, of course, I take no issue with them finding a way to still sort of use Bray. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if there's a way that they could still use him as if he's sort of active in it through supernatural things. Listen, he wasn't my best friend. I don't know the man. But I think we all have enough of an idea of how much he loved this stuff to believe, if you will, that he would probably be pretty cool with the idea of him still being involved in story from the beyond.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we talk about people who love wrestling and think it's great. This man, Wyndham Rotunda, The man, it was his life. So I wonder if they find a way to do that. Either way, I like that idea a lot. Now, maybe you're wrong, Emilio, and maybe there is a 6, and it's that Bray is like, the Fiend is something else, and these are the 6. I guess that remains to be seen. Also, any surprise then that Bliss would have no involvement, or at least now, or she could still, one
She
day
could still pop up as a member. I am surprised though that she wasn't in the Nikki Ash role as the Sister Abigail figure, because she was speculated to be as part of this whole group. Braun was also speculated as being part of this group, but he looked to be among the bodies laid out backstage in Raw. So I'll just put it this way: we have no idea what is going on, and I feel like I like it that way, because just when you think they are turning everything on its head.
It's a pretty cool time. By the way, I just saw this news. This is pretty historic news. I mean, arguably in the conversation for the greatest ball player of all time, Willie Mays has passed away at 93 years old. San Francisco Giants posted on X, "It is with great sadness that we announce that San Francisco Giants legend and Hall of Famer Willie Mays passed away peacefully this afternoon at the age of 93. Maybe he's in the convo for the greatest ball player who ever lived."
Yeah.
But unbelievable. You know what? You take 93. We do a thing on the K show because K is crazy and scared of death. I mean, we're all scared of death, right? But there's levels. He's like obsessively scared of it. So we always.
Yeah, I'm with them though. I'm with them.
I'm not looking forward to it, SGG. Believe you me. But here's the thing about him that's crazy. Michael K is terrified of death, but also doesn't know how to live. Man doesn't have fun. He doesn't eat different food.
He's trying to maximize his minutes.
I know, but why are you maximizing the minutes if you don't even have fun with the minutes you have?
Because too much fun will be the last minute. You want him out here skydiving and jet skiing and
no, oh please, me. Can you eat a slice of pizza with pepperoni on it, my man? Can you try a margarita? You know what I mean?
He's never had a margarita. He's never had a margarita.
I would imagine he's never had a margarita. He'd be like, wow. Salt. I mean, he doesn't have anything. But anyways, we always play a mini game on the show, if you will, when we hear of someone's passing. If they're at a ripe age, I think we all would agree. I think most of us right now, no hesitation. If you're forced, you're like, hey, right now you got to choose. We're offering you 93. We're all taking 93, right?
Yeah.
I'm not holding out for more. I'm taking 93.
Absolutely.
You take it. So we do that with Michael every time. You'd be amazed at the numbers he won't take. The only thing we've seen him take, I think, is 96 and up.
So 93 he wouldn't take.
I don't know if he'd take 93. I'll ask him right now. Let's ask him. He's in.
Yeah.
I just sent it to the group chat.
I would take 93.
You have to. He's
easily.
Now, here's the thing. Michael's in the middle of calling a game. How long will it take him to answer?
I mean, in between innings, you might get something out
of
it.
No. Michael could do it in between pitches. He's a GOAT. Make no mistakes. When it comes to that stuff, no one better. Anyway, so RIP to the great. Now, going back to the Wyatt 6 of it all, there's just a lot of risk there. Oh, he says no. He already replied.
What?
No.
Insanity.
Man, you talk about threes, though. Bill Walton, Jerry West, Willie Mays, all in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, all due respect to Bill Walton, who is the one I know the best personality-wise, not on the same level as a player as the other two.
Somebody has to listen. The bronze medal has to go to somebody. There's no shame in that.
No, there's no shame. He's the man. Everyone
loves Bill Walton. If you're going to be among the three, listen, with the right three, I'll take bronze.
I used to
if I get to be in that company.
I loved Bill Walton's irreverent conversation in games. Before Bill Walton became like intentionally irreverent, which I still enjoyed also, but I mean when he was more just like a more straightforward basketball guy, but he'd still randomly bust out, like they'd be calling a game and he'd randomly go, Isaiah Thomas, champion at the game of basketball, champion at the game of life. Like the random, that's who I'll miss the most. It is going to be a challenge, though, to do this well. And I'm hopeful. I have a lot of faith in everybody involved. But it's just hard to do this. Remember, after a long time, it was hard to even do The Fiend. Like all the mythical characters. I mean, Undertaker has to re-up every few years.
Yeah, Undertaker's the GOAT at that. Undertaker has died and come back so many times.
He's become a biker.
The first Undertaker death though was crazy. Partially because I was young.
Remind us.
You remember when Undertaker fought Yokozuna, I believe it was, in a casket match? I think it was at the Royal Rumble, and all the heels came out and beat Undertaker's ass and put him in a coffin.
That was the only way they could kill him?
They wheeled him out, and then you see like his body rise up into the heavens, and then he comes on the Tron and get a shot in the coffin where like he opens his eyes and then just ascends, and then we don't see him until SummerSlam. As a kid, I was just like, I can handle the murder. That we watched them kill him. I wasn't ready to watch him go to heaven or wherever the hell he went. Turns out he just went to a Waffle House, but I didn't know that.
Or a bike shop or an American flag store. All the things.
But I didn't know. I thought it was something else.
So all of those things that we just said, Sting, all of these characters, they're hard, man. They're hard to do. So I am certainly hopeful and super excited. And let me say this. I do think regardless of what happens with this particular story, I think the man behind the mask is going to be okay no matter what.
Yeah. And I got to say too, I really don't trust anybody else to be able to pull this off besides the team that they already have handling it. Triple H, Rob Fee, that creative team at WWE, just because they've been really good these past 18 months or even more with just like the other stories, even people who show up on screen like a Chad Gable who would show up sometimes and get like 2 minutes here or 3 minutes there. Everybody's been able to just maximize their minutes and bring that entertainment value. So for a story like this, where I know they're going all hands on deck and it means a lot to them, I'm not saying it's going to be Bloodline, but it also doesn't have to be highly, highly entertaining.
Exactly,
which
right.
I think is what we want.
Speaking of highly entertaining, Clash at the Castle certainly had its moments. I got into a bit of an argument on text message with a friend of the show,
Brian Man,
Mr. Ariel Helwani.
Oh,
because Ariel loves the international shows. He won't stop marking out for the crowd, and I am like, I get the international shows. I'm not mad at the international shows, but sometimes, listen, Dip's not here. I'm sure on Patreon this week, Dip will give you his full feelings. Some of the
Dip
language
was on one. Yeah.
I mean, it was some of the language he used to describe it. I'm not saying
we're gonna need a role reversal.
It's not inappropriate or anything. It was just harsh. His descriptions for some of the things he saw were harsh. But I do understand what he's saying, and I have been talking about this a lot. Like the sort of building shows around the fans is a mixed bag to me. Now, in the end, I think the Drew McIntyre version turned out pretty dope because it was another way to have him get screwed by Punk in a really big way. So I love
how silent the
that was awesome.
Ovo Hydro got when they realized that it was a wrap for their boy.
Me too. It's a really good point, SGG, because we always think about how hyped everyone is. It was
Oh
dope
yeah,
to see how quiet everyone was.
and that you know, we got to talk about that too, right? Because especially with these international crowds, and there's always a tendency for people to go. Like I saw a lot of WWE missed their moment with Drew. They should have crowned him. Imagine that pop in front of this hometown crowd and yada yada yada. And this might not sound too shocking from the Thunderdome guy, but just walk with me for a little bit.
All right.
I don't give a shit about if the
Whoa.
crowd would have popped for Drew McIntyre. I have to say, it's not about the pop. It's about the reaction, which I get it. If it was in the Thunderdome, there would not have been a reaction. Joke's on me. But they got the exact reaction that they wanted out of the crowd by screwing Drew in his home country at another clash at the castle, which shout out to Drew for even, being up for that heartbreak again. But that reaction is going to mean more going forward to Punk's and Drew's program than Drew getting a pop and carrying a title into that program. That reaction, that heartbreak that Punk carried out and brought to Drew and the entire country of Scotland means so much more. So I don't care about a pop and sending the crowd home happy and making sure that people cheer at the end of a show. I want a reaction that's going to push forward the next few weeks of TV because it's not going to end right there. Like that's not the series finale. This is just
an episode.
It's episode 1 every time, right? Like you could be tuning in for the first time and you want to see what happens next. So
no, it's a really great point by you. I'm going to combat you though with something that I know might tug at your heartstrings.
Let me hear this.
On the flip side, they compensated for that feeling being felt by the crowd. And the victims of that compensation were none other than who I believe is your favorite tag team.
Oh, yeah.
Bianca
Isn't it everybody's favorite?
And Jade Cargill. Now, obviously, there's a story they're trying to further there with the two of them, right? I would certainly be disappointed if they forced that in any way just to pop the crowd for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn.
Well, we speculated, right? Because they had 3 people from Scotland.
Well, let's not talk about your speculations because we saw your picked predictions.
Yeah. I was wrong as hell.
Yeah.
I was wrong as hell. But we were wondering, could they have them all lose? And now we know that the answer is no. So if you have to give the crowd something, I think that was the right bit of something.
Assuming it was the right time and that they tell a good story with Bianca and Jade, they didn't do anything clear. I didn't figure out what they did that was clear between. Was there something obvious between Bianca and Jade that happened, or no?
No, it's just a standard. They set this up with every triple threat match, and sometimes it is the key element to the deciding the match of the champion does not have to be involved in the decision to lose it. What they really did, though, I think it was they established that Bianca and Jade are a strong tag team because it was their finisher that left Shayna vulnerable. Isla Dawn, I believe it was, she came in, she capitalized, they neutralized Jade and Bianca, but it was their finisher that made Shayna, it took Shayna out, made her vulnerable, and Shayna was the one who ate the pin. So I think it's possible that they go back for their tag team titles, but I don't think that we saw the seeds of a breakup just yet. Now, a tag team that we did, I think seeds were planted for the breakup, and we're finally seeing it on their end, is the New Day. I don't know if you saw, but Karrion Kross challenged any member of the New Day. He didn't care who it was. He said he was going to leave his boys in the back. You guys decide who's going to come out, who's going to stay in the back, face me. And then when Kofi said that he was going to step up to that challenge, Xavier gave him a look that was kind of like, did my boy just dismiss me to take the spotlight once again? So let's see how that goes on Monday. But I think that is the next tag team breakup that we're going to see on the horizon.
Wow, can you believe it? And again, I know I kind of mentioned this recently, but I want to emphasize it again. Just remember, guys, it happening in this moment is sort of why I pushed for it to happen like 2 years ago. Because it's going to happen right now, and at least in the moment when they do it, it's going to be like the 10th biggest story. Now, maybe when they do it, it'll propel them into a bigger spot. But like, there's no denying right now, if we go through the list of stories, the Karrion Kross New Day stuff that we've been seeing is not high.
No, and it's just an unfortunate time for them, right? Because, like we said, the Wyatt Sick6, they debuted. You have Chad Gable and whatever's going to happen with him in Alpha Academy. Jey Uso's on a meteoric rise, so whatever he's doing is a story. Braun Breaker is. We didn't even touch on this. Braun Breaker
Braun
is
Breaker's been big too, yeah.
He's terrorizing Monday Night Raw. He's thrashing everybody. He beat down Sheamus and Ludwig, who was only ringside to beat down Sheamus, but he didn't care. He doesn't need any allies. Braun Breaker just thrashed him, and that says nothing of what's happening on SmackDown, where we have it looks like Cody Rhodes and the Bloodline converging again to continue their war. Only this time it's Solo and the Tongans, which Cody Rhodes has never faced before, and he has Randy and KO backing him up. But there's that element happening on SmackDown, and then when you, like you said, when you go through what everybody is doing,
it's a lot.
It is a lot. Even LA Knight popping up with the home invasion on Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, don't forget about that. And then Logan Paul tagging up with Donald Trump.
Yeah. The most heartbreaking thing about that was seeing the United States Championship dead center.
I know. I'm proud to be an American, and but yeah, LA Knight and Logan is still a thing. Let me say this. You know what they need to do with Braun Breaker, by the way?
What's that?
They need to have him beat the hell out of McAfee.
Yeah.
That would set him into like if it made you really feel bad for McAfee. Like he got in like he fought back for a second and you're like, oh my God, I forgot McAfee can wrestle. But then he just you're like, oh no, he can't wrestle like that. And Braun took him out for like at least one episode. And that would
you can't get taken out by Braun and be back 2 weeks later.
It would have to be like he's going on vacation. Like if Pat's going on vacation, summer vacation for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But
they got to be like.
Don't you think though it would go a long way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
because
a scary beatdown.
Yes. And I have no qualms about Braun being the. All right, if you go on a vacation, you can't just win and disappear. Yo, I'll get you written off. Don't worry about it. And then when you come back, you can get the love and the flowers and the pot. But before you go, you have to eat a spear.
Yeah,
maybe a spear through something.
Right.
I don't know.
But when he eventually gets back, and then maybe the way you get Braun Breaker into something great. This is old school booking, and I love it. He goes to hurt McAfee again, and it's whoever comes out and protects McAfee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's for the record, guys, the answer isn't McAfee than having a match with Braun Breaker. Unless
he gets his ass beat.
Exactly. Unless you hype everyone up and then Braun Breaker kills.
Yeah. And you know how you do it too? You launch Braun Breaker into the upper echelon is you set up a match with him and Jey Uso, and out of the corner of his eye he catches McAfee yeeting with Jey Uso.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
And he don't like that. So after that, he just takes him out.
Hey, real quick, we got to go, guys. I want to tell you, if for some reason you've never subscribed, we have thousands and thousands of you every week who are with us, and we so appreciate you. And we know Patreon's not for all of you, not in the budget. We get it. But YouTube is free, and we'd love for you to head over to Rosenberg Wrestling on YouTube and subscribe. We're going to do some new fun things on YouTube in the coming weeks and months. And that's where you get all the videos. By the way, we now post full videos for every episode. So if you want to watch us, it's not enough to listen. You want to see us, even though today my camera's horrible, but you want to be in my living room, you can do it on YouTube. Also, patreon.com/staymage. 3 tiers right there right now. For the first tier, you get the hangout with Booker T last week, which I was a little upset. You know me, I'm very sensitive. One bad comment sends me.
I thought me and Dip got recast. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, they were both
oh,
very good.
I said, "Oh no,
I
got the super charming Hollywood type.
Yep.
We got the outrageous black guy. Yep. I don't know if me and Dip is gonna have a job next week."
It's a great point. I mean, Booker T is a better version of you, and Brad Gilmore, his hair at least crushes Dipperstein.
And I think he's still under 35 too. So he's
still under 30, just under 30. I think he might be 33 or something. So
still got a couple years.
But of course, because I'm sensitive, I read the negative comment. But there's one comment on the Patreon where someone was like, "Oh man, I don't want interviews on Patreon. I just like when they hang." Listen, first of all, sorry. Sometimes there are going to be interviews, and people enjoy interviews, so I obviously can't cater to everyone individually. But to that person specifically, what made that episode dope was it's legit not an interview. Like, it's legitimately Booker just hanging out. There's 10 minutes is me telling a personal story from WrestleMania weekend of mine that Booker T knew, but nobody else knew, that I shared on the podcast for the first time. I don't know if you heard it yet, SGG, but you knew about what happened.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you know about it. It was a mistake I made that I didn't call attention to on the podcast, but I brought it up for the first time. And Booker and I talked, but then basically it was a mistake that I made on the air about Thunderbolt Patterson, right? But that then led to a really deep conversation about Thunderbolt Patterson that I've never had. And then it led to a conversation about other black unheralded wrestlers and admiration of JYD. Then in the episode, I got to ask Booker, we just talked about Macho Man and how he's like Ghostface, he's always on. I got to ask him, was Macho Man ever off? That ended up with us talking about Be a Man Hogan, playing some of the album. I mean, it's just a great hang. So it wasn't like a straight ahead interview. It was a hangout with Booker and his co-host Brad Gilmore, who, by the way, is a fantastic book on my favorite movie of all time, Back to the Future.
And he's a great guy.
Great guy. We love Brad Gilmore. We love Brad. I don't have a good B alliteration for Brad. Beautiful Brad. He's very beautiful. So we recommend the Patreon, Stay Mage. And like I said, we'll get back in this weekend and do another Saturday Night's Main Event. But Rosenberg Wrestling at gmail.com. Dip will be on Patreon this week, and we'll definitely get into some mailbag because we've been light on mailbag since we got to the Mage era. SGG, enjoy a relaxing, lovely Juneteenth.
You know I will. And for our listeners, that QR code is going out shortly, so you know what to do, how to celebrate.
You know what? I'm going to put it up on the Instagram story for people to send you money, and then maybe whatever business I decide to, what's the word? Not matriculate. Try
support.
Well, yeah, I was looking for a fancier word, but you get the idea. We'll throw that up maybe on the IG as well. So, what are we on? Cheap Heat Pod. That's what we are on Instagram.
That's right. At Cheap Heat Pod. Is it at Cheap Heat Pod? It's just Cheap Heat Pod.
By the way, we're the worst. We're the worst. This is classic me being bad.
There's no synergy.
No synergy.
Because the Patreon is Stay Mage, the Twitter is Stay Mage, but the IG is Cheap Heat Pod.
And you know what? And the Rosenberg. I'm gonna try to fix some things up. I'm gonna try to fix some things up. Maybe that has to be done. All right, everyone. Shouts to Emilio Sparks, our producer, and Stay Mage, everyone.